Hello everyone and welcome at a new video of Deep Dive Stocks. Today we are going to take a look at Forfarmers. As you can see here on the screen, this is the chart for Forfarmers for the last year. And over the last year we gained 73% on Forfarmers. I personally have a position in Forfarmers as well. I bought 500 Forfarmers stocks back in January, which was a good timing. Because when we look at the year to date, in January we were still around €3.30. I believe I bought them for €3.44, which was somewhere here, I think. So first it went down a bit for me, but after that we went all the way up. And in the last month, plus 17% for farmers. And today we are on plus 6 cents. Let's take a look at the company Forfarmers. What is it for kind of company? Well, the name already kind of speaks for itself. It is a company that engages in the production and supply of animal feed and grain products. The firm's products include feed and blends, feed for young animals, raw materials, co-products to seed and fertilizers. It is a Dutch company and their main operation area, geographical segments are Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, United Kingdom and Poland. Forfarmers went to the stock market a few years ago, and around 2017, 2018 they were planning to do a strategical change. And for that strategical change they tried to grow by taking over other businesses. I've opened an article here, which is an article in Dutch, a very nice pick, and you see that this is an article from 2022, and it says that there were three big problems for the new CEO at that time, and the biggest problem was named as number one, and that's some takeover of other businesses, mainly one in Poland named Tasomix. Forfarmers bought Tasomix back in 2018. They got a 60% share in Tasomix, but 2 years later, it cost them tens of millions of euros because of COVID-19. The growth expectation was a lot lower because of COVID-19, and it means that it cost Forfarmers tens of millions of euros. And then when we go back to the stock chart and we see the maximum, we see that the stock topped in 2018 in spring, May, June. It was around €12. At the highest point, which is quite high, but then it went already down. This was even before the COVID pandemic, but it's good to know that at the start of when they went to the stock market, the stock was around €6, and then when COVID actually came, it went way worse, and it basically went all the way down till 2022 till around €2.50. There were some other problems. One was the efficiency, and one was that the margin on the products was not very high, so the profit for farmers was not very high, and it went down. So these were some problems for farmers back in 2022 that they had to tackle, and that's when they got a new CEO. In 2023 they got a new CEO as well, and that's when the tide turned, as I would say. So let's dive a bit deeper into the numbers of Forfarmers, and let's do it in the same way as I did for the Nvidia stock. First, let's take a look at the seasonal charts. It will not surprise you, as I just said, they only started growing back last year. So when we take a look at all the numbers of the previous years, it's pretty bad. 2022, 2021, 2023, the stock just consistently went down with 29, 25, 22%. And 2020, which was the COVID year, you can see at the start of 2020 it was not that bad, it's the orange line. But then, let's say when COVID took longer and longer, then in 2020 the graph also went down. When we take a look at 2024, it's suddenly already plus 40%. And yeah, not even speaking about 2025, we're currently at plus 30%, and it's only the end of March right now. So there is a lot of positivities going on around Forfarmers currently. When we take a look at the expected earnings of the last years, we can see some similar pattern. In 2021, the expected earnings were way higher than the actual earnings. Expected was 0.31. I have to say that I actually don't know if this is in millions. I will check that later. But what is the most important here is that the result was way worse in 2021 than expected. Then in 2022, the expectation was lower, but the result was higher. But even though the result was higher in 2023, which makes sense with the timeline that I just said, the expectation was lower and the actual result was lower again. But then the change in the CEO and the change in like the strategical business once again showed that in 2024, Forfarmers outperformed the expectation and they had their best results since 2021. Now in 2025, the expectation is higher than the actual performance of last year when we look at the earnings. So if they outperform again this year, then it's going only better for Forfarmers. We also see the dividends here, but let's take a look at the dividends at GetQuinn. The dividends are already announced and it's 20 cents per stock. As I said, I own 500 of them, so I will get €100 dividend. And when you calculate it, when you own for €1,000 in Forfarmers stocks, you will get €44 dividends, which is quite high. And so it's a relatively good dividend stock to own. And that makes the dividend yield ratio 4.4% currently. But as you can see in the previous years, they kept having a high dividend, even though the stock was way lower. Even when it was around €2.5, the dividend stayed around 28 cents, 29 cents, 29 cents. But then they decided to lower the dividends and now they decided to make them higher compared to last year. It's 5 cents higher than last year. But even when we go back further, it was 30 cents in 2018. So regarding the dividends, we're not yet on the level of 2018, but the dividend yield is relatively high with 4.4%. Then let's take a look finally at the expectations for the future. And I've got a slight new tool, so I will show you that as well. There's only one analyst rating, so yeah, I cannot really take this this forecast too serious. It's a pretty small stock. They're on the third biggest stock exchange in the Netherlands, which is called ACSX. So above that is the AEX and the AMX. As you can see, there's only one analyst rating, which has a target of 5.30 for the upcoming year. That's still around 80 cents higher than the stock is right now. But as you can see, we had a pretty big rise over the last month from €3.3 to 4.70. And let's take a look at it here. So what I did is I drew a line here to indicate the trend. And yeah, as you can see from, let's say, May last year, you can even draw the line a little bit further actually, but you see that the trend is going more and more upwards. But from May last year till March this year, just before the sudden explosion, it's a pretty solid trend. And what we see here is that we are topping right now. So we topped around 486, but now the stock is back on 454. And yeah, when you see this, I would not be surprised if we get a further correction and if we will bottom out a bit more. But what I'm interested in is to just continue drawing these lines towards the end of the year. Let's see how that works. I think I should do it like this and then select this one. Yeah, and then just continue. So let's say till the 1st of December. If we just continue the lower line, it means that we will be up to 4.33, which is lower than the current valuation. But let's also continue the upper line. I should do it like this, select it and then continue. And if we continue the upper line, we will get around 4.77. So 4.77 is higher than we are right now, but it is kind of a good way to follow this line, I think. And yeah, currently the value, I think it's currently maybe a little bit overvalued when you look at the sudden rise in the stock, but still, I think it's a pretty solid look for the remainder of the year. It would be nice if we can hit the €5 mark, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen. I mean, we almost already hit it, but yeah, when you look at the history, it is a really sudden rise, and I'm not sure if that's going to continue like that, but at least there is a lot of upward potential, I would say. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with Forfarmers. I will definitely stay invested in Forfarmers, and I'm looking forward to the dividends that I will receive. I will give an update about that later, but for now, this is the analysis of Forfarmers. Enjoy the video, and of course, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and also leave a comment if you want to see some other deep dive videos, and let me know which stocks you would like to see. Thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next one.